because we're talking about something that actually really is a big deal for so many people. And Diane and Natasha, the last time you were here, we were talking, this topic came up a bit, but we are in September, which is National Alopecia Awareness Month. And we have this new study that's come out. And so let's talk about this. Natasha, I'm going to start first with you. If you can just help us set the stage as to what we should know about this study. And then Diane and Seli, I'm coming to both of you then.
Well, I'm gonna kick it to Diane because Diane is the one that
I knew
works.
you was going to do that.
You know
I was
what I'm
like, I should probably have kicked this to
saying?
Diane first. I knew you was going to do that. Diane, we starting
Yes,
with you.
dear.
Why
Yes,
don't you
yes.
set it up?
Yes.
Go ahead, Diane.
Oh, she's on mute. Uh-oh. And she's
Oh,
saying
you're
something
muted,
powerful
Diane.
too, but she's on
Okay.
mute.
So, yes. What was the question?
Set us up. What does this study tell us? What do we need to know about these treatments regarding alopecia?
Oh, well,
What
there's
is the
so much,
seriousness of this issue?
revolutionary treatments that are going on right now around hair loss, specifically around CCCA and the other ones, which is like traction alopecia and AA and genetic alopecia.
Well,
They
now,
are
for those of us who don't know what those letters mean, what is CCCA and how is it different from the other forms of
centrical. So
alopecia?
this is alopecia that's centrical, and it starts small and it gets wider and wider at the crown generally. Women over 40, 50, they start getting this thinness and it gets larger and larger and larger. And of course, there's inflammation, which means there's tenderness, there might be some redness and sensitivity around those areas. And in most cases, women just ignore it because my mother had it or my grandmother had it. But this is a genetic programming that can be stopped or minimized if we catch it early. Yes, yes.
So this
Well,
is the
now
type
with
of hair thinning.
technology, mhm.
No, so
Now,
this is the type of hair thinning. I just want to make sure people are clear. This is where you're basically getting a bald spot at the top of your head, kind of like where we traditionally expect to see men going bald.
yes,
When you yourself as a woman are experiencing that. And so you're saying that there's treatments for this now, even though it's a
yes.
genetic condition?
Even though it's genetics, even though they believe it can be triggered through other things, now they're able to address it through chemical services, right? And with nutrition and with certain behaviors that we have in hairstyling that are more compatible to hair loss. So
Wow.
therefore, like people like myself who want you to go all natural, this is the avenue that you would have to go. It is a journey. It takes some time for the hair to come back. For people who start this journey, and trying to repair their hair, it's usually 6 months to a year before you see any real improvement. But your commitment and going to the right doctor will help you in growing your hair. The next one is another system that I'm just learning about and that we're going to be offering at my studio. It's the future of trichology, actually. It is painless. It is People go to sleep. It's almost like getting a massage for your scalp. And it's part of it is infusing hormones into your skin through massage. And it's called Triopac. And this is coming from Italy. So it's brand new. It's right off the cuff. It's edge breaking because people are finding within 3 or 4 months, their alopecias are coming back and their hair is getting healthier. So we are at a good time right now. We're at a time where science and the art of hair are meshing together for a healthier protocol for Black women in this country.
So there's a scientific support, and this is something that with that bald spot, I know many of my elders, Black women who have that spot, and I always just assumed it was because we were putting ponytails up high, because a lot of women have hairstyles that sort of center on pulling the hair up. So losing your edges and using the crown is something that I've sort of seen, and I didn't realize it was genetic though. Seli, I know that this is something that has personal resonance for you. Talk to us about your experience with the topic of hair loss and why this is something that you wanted to speak out about.
Yeah, so it wasn't a subject that I ever thought would affect me. And when I thought about a story to write about, I never thought that it would be on hair loss. My mother had hair loss right here at the top, and I always attributed it to her thyroid conditions. And last year I was going through a stressful time. I had changed my diet. I had gone vegan. I'd started taking supplements. And I started watching my hair just coming out. I mean, it was frightening. It was so significant that a friend of mine who had gone through chemotherapy, we had talked about. I kept on telling her, "Oh, my hair is coming out. Something's wrong with my hair. Something's going on." But I took a video and sent it to her of all this hair that had collected at the bottom of the shower. And she said, "Oh my gosh, Salai, that's like when I went through chemo." So at that point, I
Wow.
knew something was really wrong. It wasn't in my head. I went to my dermatologist and she asked me a few questions. She kind of like poked around and said, "Okay." Um, Asked me what medications I was on, and she prescribed minoxidil. That was it. That was it. And I had to do a lot of the research. I went online. I saw that there could be some effect with my new diet. If I didn't get enough nutrients, that could be it. But I
Mm.
never got any definitive answer. As you can see now, like my hair is, well, for me, this is thick. It's back. It's natural. I'm not dying. Uh, um, but uh I cut it all off. I cut it down to like Halle Berry, Strictly Business, like that short. And it's
Mm.
been growing out. And what I just learned last week, went to see my my GYN for annual testing, whatnot, and my hormone levels came back. DHEA was through the roof. Well, guess who
Huh.
started taking DHEA supplement? I took it because I was uh, pre-diabetic, and I had read somewhere on the internet that
Mm.
DHEA in small amounts can help normalize the way you metabolize sugar. I took it without asking anybody. I just did it.
Mm.
My doctor, nobody asked, "Are you taking supplements?" And then this weekend is when I realized DHEA can cause hair loss. It can create
Wow.
all sorts of changes that you don't want. So,
Huh.
if anything, aside from what the ladies here are going to talk about, it's like, please, y'all, don't go on the internet and give yourself and start
Mm.
taking, don't use Amazon as like your health portal. Don't use the internet. It's not your friend. Not in this case. At least it wasn't for
Not in
me.
this case. And I'm guilty of that. I know a lot of us are, hearing something that worked well for somebody for a thing. So we take that thing, not knowing that that thing is going to interact with all the other things happening in our bodies that perhaps is not happening in the body of the person who recommended it. We've all done it. And so I'm so glad that you were at least able to get a medical response or an answer to what was happening. But this idea, and Diane, you've talked about the fact before that over half of Black women experience some form of systemic hair loss. And so I was over the weekend. There's a brand that is back in the news for after it was recently sold. A lot of women are talking about how they've been using this brand. They were using it extensively. Then it was sold. I'm not going to say the brand because I don't want to contribute, but there was a brand. It starts with an M. I'm just saying, a lot of people were talking about using the products beforehand, and now the chemicals, they say change, although we've seen some chemists who have said, no, the products did not change, but are not in any significant way. But there is a lot of concern about hair loss, a lot of concern about using products that sometimes are aimed at Black women that will also contain chemicals that can exacerbate hair loss that we're experiencing. So hair loss has been an issue that so many of us have been grappling with, hiding from, truly. And I know,
Can
we
I just
talked before
add to
about
that?
hair dye and
Can I
yeah, go
add to
ahead,
that
Diane. I'm
just
trying not to say the
briefly?
name. I don't want to get nobody in trouble. I'm
Yeah,
just
don't say
saying.
the name. You don't have
Okay.
to. What I want people
Okay.
to understand, this is what's the real deal is. it's really important that you read the back of the label.
Mm.
Even when you do read it, it looks like another language, because it is.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
design, right? However, if you see fragrance in the ingredient captions, that is a portal for them to put anything in that product.
Because you don't have to list the ingredients for
Because you don't have to
fragrances, is that
list
right?
no, you do not have to tell what the fragrance is. Fragrance is an ambiguous term for I'm doing what I want to do.
Mm.
So that is really the issue and the problem, that it has escalated with product development and people making better choices.
Wow.
It is important, and there are apps out there now that you can go and screen everything that you need to screen that's topical, whether it's lotion, a shampoo, a soap. And you need to go to these apps and really start reading the back of the labels. That's what's most important. Of course, the front of the label is the advertisement. That's the
Yeah.
trigger. That's the thing that attracts you.
Yep.
Yes, that's wonderful. But this is like a relationship when you buy your products. You know what I'm saying? When you meet a man, of course, he's going to give you all the things that are lovely in the beginning, right? And then you
Or
start
let's be fair, when you meet a person, because
a
there's some
person,
trifling people of
you meet
all
a
genders
person,
and
all the
non-genders
things
all
are
over the place.
lovely. All the things
Mhm.
are lovely in a new
Mhm.
relationship, right? Man, woman, doesn't
Mhm.
matter. However, relationships take time, and so do products. Over time, you're going to see how well the product works and how it doesn't work. So you buy it repeatedly. And so my quest to everyone who is going to go out there and shop around for new products, go find the apps. I think one of them is Yelp.
EW,
Which one?
They're gonna get us.
EWG,
Yes,
Environmental Work Group, I think, and
it's
then
environmental
the
group.
Yuka app.
And you need to go and look, and you can scan the product and it will tell you, it will give you a green, a yellow, a red, a blue. There's signals that tell you how toxic the products are. And that way you can better make better choices in your product selection.
I really appreciate you breaking that down, the fragrance component. I had a mini argument with my mini me this weekend because she was insisting this product that she was using was all natural. I was like, what's in the fragrance? She was like, well, mommy, it said blah, blah, blah. I was like, what's in the fragrance? What's in the fragrance? She didn't know, she didn't understand. And you, Diane, just explained to a lot of people, if I am a product maker and there are chemicals that might cause a concern if I were to label them, if I make it a part of my fragrance, not to say that anyone is or is not doing it, but I can essentially inject anything into that that product.
Absolutely.
But if it's under the label of fragrance, so a lot of us are excited about the rosemary mint and all these lovely smells and scents, but you don't. It could be a whole. Don't be fooled by the smell. You need to smell is water. That's what you need to smell of, water.
The more fragrant a product is, okay, the more apt, I'm not saying that all, but the more apt that it
Yeah.
is some toxicity or some level of or byproduct of something toxic.
Yeah, that's important for folks to know because a lot of people are getting tripped up with the natural quote unquote smells, not realizing that those smells are what's separating their hair follicle from their head. Natasha, you all are doing some as a part of the Natural Hairstyle and Braid Coalition. You guys have some organizing work that you're doing around the product, the issue of alopecia, empowering women and men and people who are grappling with hair loss to be able to find solutions, much like the ones that Diane was referencing. Talk to us about some of the things that you all have coming up. I know we got something happening tonight. I'm super excited about. Cannot wait to log on and join y'all today. Give us a sense as to some of the organizing work that you all are doing, because we've seen reports coming out of California. We've seen studies coming from all over the place. We don't often have an organizing space to help people who are suffering from hair loss, which I think we should have more of because it feels nefarious to me. Like it feels like you ain't doing this to white women's hair. Why is it that our products seem to be having these issues? So I don't know, but I know you all have some organizing happening around this. Give us a sense as to what that looks like.
We do. So as the coalition, we pride ourselves on getting the latest information and working with subject matter experts in those fields. And so one of the organizations that we'll be working with is called We Act, and they actually came to our last event, Rooted in Wellness, addressing hair loss with experts, to talk about their organizing efforts, their advocacy efforts. They have a bill called the Beauty Justice Act. And that bill is there to talk to New York City about removing harmful chemicals from our beauty products. Okay, so that's exactly what we're talking about here, because fragrance is not regulated by the FDA. A lot of beauty products are regulated by the FDA. And so, we reached out to We Act and we were like, we seem to be aligned. We should work together. You can give our audience information and whatnot. And so that's one thing I just want to let people know is that their advocacy is going to be a part of this. Like, we can talk about the issues, but if we don't do something about the issues, it will persist.
That's right.
Correct?
That's right.
So what we're doing is raising awareness around hair loss through events, through virtual events, through in-person events, and partnering with other folks, our community partners. And one of them is New York Beauty Suites. And New York Beauty Suites is a co-working space. It's an entrepreneurial hub for beautypreneurs. And so on September 15th, they're hosting a self-care Sundays, and the NHBC will be there giving an info session on National Alopecia Awareness Month and the things that they should be looking out for. So that's September 15th in Brooklyn from 12 to 5 p.m. And it's for entrepreneurs who are looking for self-care, right? Because there's going to be services that they can partake in that's going to be exclusive to the event. It's a free event, so definitely check that out. Tonight, we're talking about, we're having a virtual open house, the NHBC. So anyone who is in the hair care industry, if you are a product manufacturer, if you are an event organizer, if you are obviously a hair care professional, trichologist, a dermatologist, if you are a client, and you want to understand the issues around how the connection between our hair and our health, you definitely want to come to the virtual open house. We're going to talk about how we started. We're going to talk about the work that we've done and the work that we're looking to do. And it's an open house, so we're inviting people in, right? We cannot do this work alone. We shouldn't be doing this work alone because it affects everybody that you know in your circle.
That's right.
Hair care is definitely related to our healthcare. This is the beauty wellness industry. We want to kind of shift this perspective so that women know that, the way that we see ourselves, the way that we treat ourselves is definitely connected to the health outcomes that we are experiencing. And so that's tonight at 6 p.m. on Zoom. And you can definitely find the link at mainmovesmedia.com. If you're following on Instagram, it's in my link tree at Main Moves, as well as the _NHBC on Instagram.
And we're going to tweet that. We're going to push that out as well so that people are aware. And I'm looking forward because I'll be speaking tonight. I think it's around 7:45-ish, I believe.
Yes.
I think that's okay. Yeah. So I'm going to be there. It starts at 6 p.m. tonight. We're going to tweet out this link. But I wanted to, for people who want to know more about this act, this is a New York State piece of legislation. We Act is an amazing organization. And I've spoken for their organization before a couple of years ago. I think they do amazing work for environmental justice. It's kind of like a for us by us approach to environmental justice. But you all need to be aware in New York State, because this is something you can replicate the same way that on the right wing, they've got organizations like ALEC that have one piece of legislation. They just copy and paste it and spread it all over the country, which is how we get a book ban in one state that just spreads and looks exactly the same as the language banning books in other states. Well, in the state of New York, they've got the New York, as Natasha said, New York State's Beauty Justice Act, also known as the Safe Personal Care and Cosmetics Act, would ban the most dangerous toxic chemicals from the majority of personal care and cosmetic products sold in the state, which would significantly reduce the adverse health impacts of exposure to these chemicals. And, Monday is our day where we have our routine checkup segment. And so we are always talking about something health related. And so I love that you all come on Mondays, also because Monday is the one day that stylists technically have off. We know you're never off, but technically, but this connection between our sense of beauty and how we present with our overall health, and the fact that so many of us are dying for vanity. Silai, you said you're not dyeing your hair anymore, and I felt a little cringe. I cringed a little bit inside. The last time the ladies were here, we were talking about the fact that I have been dyeing my hair for years, and now I'm like, wait a minute, that could be a problem. And I listened to you, Diane. We we came back from vacation, and because I've been using the conditioner to color my hair, and so I didn't recolor, and I'm just gonna hold. You said if you can hold out for a couple of months, don't do it every month, just hold out. So I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna wait till after pumpkin spice season is over. I'm gonna
I'm
wait.
so proud of you. I'm so proud of
That's
you.
wonderful.
I'm thinking I have to embrace gray hair, and it's purely vanity. This is only about looks, and the
Well,
fact that I talk so much
this,
about this is,
this is the thing.
it's
This is the
a
thing. This is the thing. Listen to this.
Yeah.
Gray hair only means gray hair. It has no qualifications
Come
for who
on.
you are as a person, as
Mm,
a woman, as a mother, as a nothing. It's nothing
mm.
relatable. This is a social society dogma so that we can continue to be
Yeah.
drug infused with chemicals that eventually on some
Mm,
level are toxic not only to our bodies but to our
mm.
country. And so
Wow.
you thinking it's a small thing not to put color in. Not to put
Mm.
color in is a huge movement in you clarifying, you're protecting not just your body, but your environment as well. So
Yeah.
please, just for all of those people out there that say, I don't like gray hair. No, 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 I'm not doing it. Listen to me.
Mm.
Get your body right and your
Yeah.
mind will follow. And so
Mm.
Oh,
everyone says the opposite, but no, health comes from within. And you
Yeah.
can't expect something this toxic to benefit you in the long run. It's not there to benefit you, it's to benefit their pocket.
I also want to
Mm.
just add something. When I stopped dyeing my hair in 4 years ago. I
Yeah.
haven't dyed it in 4 years. And I had asked a question came up as like, I'm 54 now. I can't believe it. I'm like, how the heck did this happen? 54. Um, but when you're going through changes in life, which if you are blessed to live long enough,
Come on. That's
right?
right.
I said, why do I have an issue with gray hair? It's natural. This is
Mm.
a part of this is a process. And why am I buying into these beauty standards which are holding me to an ideal like of youth, of holding on to youth forever as being some type of big win?
Mm.
Anyways, I just want to say thank you so much for having me here today. And if you all can
Yes.
check out the essay that I wrote that's on Madame Noir, it is an amazing, amazing deep dive into the subject around hair loss with Diane and Dr. Tutu. So
Mm.
thank you so much. Is at madamenoir.com.
And we're gonna tweet that out as well. Get out all the information. You all are giving me life. Sometimes I wonder, like, do people really care about aesthetics? And then I'm like, yes, we care a lot. And I cannot tell you how many people contact me after each of these segments to say, I'm struggling with hair loss, or thank you so much because I did not know there was a solution for this. I thought I was gonna have to do the Ayanna Presley and embrace my bald baddie phase, and if that's what you gotta do, baby, be bald and be bad with it. And it's a beautiful thing. But this idea that we have to shake up these notions of what beauty looks like from the ground up, from the inside out, that's something that I almost feel ashamed that it's taken me this long to get to this point. But I'm just grateful for being in community because you all are helping me to make some personal growth space, some leaps that I have needed for quite some time. We're going to tweet out all the links. I will be joining you all tonight. It starts at 6 o'clock tonight. Silai, we're going to tweet out your article as well. And I'm so looking forward to being in community further with you and continuing to expand what it means for Black people to appreciate how we look, how we show up, and the beauty that we can, quite frankly, can't nobody imitate. Can't nobody do us like us. Thank you so much for being with us today.